Today we're going to make a custom tank bag mount for our Givi tank bag. This has been something that we've gotten from Vlad. We really use it on all the motorcycles, and one by one I've been adapting them. Now this is going to be a difficult thing because there's a possible interference fit by the handlebars I may have to deal with. I also have to deal with the fact I have to make a custom horseshoe or come up with some way of modifying that horseshoe, and I don't know how that's going to work out yet. I haven't done a dry fit on it, but I basically have a whole work session here to get it right. And it has to be solidly mounted. It mounts our radar detector, and that's going to be the fourth bike we have converted over to the Givi system, which we really like. Now today's shop project is relatively simple. I should never say very simple. Every time you start a job that's very simple, there's mousetraps. I shouldn't say mousetrap. There's something in the way that, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. Now let's start right at the beginning. Why do I even have a tank bag? It's to mount my radar detector, my booster battery, and my tire, the little thing to repair a flat tire. Now, if you never go far from home, if you only go around a block or 10 miles up the road and turn around and come back, I'm not sure you need a tank bag. But where I go, I usually ride alone. I can be within an hour of the house most of the time, sometimes an hour and a half. But what happens is I need to carry stuff with me. And in the past, I would put it in my jacket, under my and my everywhere. And I looked like Godzilla by the time I got to everything I needed to take with me. I bought the original tank bag. I got with the magnets. That worked great for a couple of years, but what was happening, as the bag wears out, the magnets wear through the little protective stuff, and it started scratching up my paintwork. I didn't like that. So Vlad talked me into, and thank you Vlad, getting the Givi bag that mounts to the gas cap. We ordered the mount, we ordered the bag and the mount, and the only problem is when you order the bag, every time you want to put it on another bike, you've got to order extra parts that don't come with it. So be aware, if you have two motorcycles, you have to order two of the rings, not the horseshoes, the rings, and I'm going to show that now because that's good information and a good tip if you're looking to do this and you really want to do it. Now, problem with this bike may or may not be the gas cap is really far forward, and it's a 6-bolt cap, not a 5-bolt. Modern bikes are 5-bolt. This is 6-bolt. I've got to drill some holes, or who knows what, bake a pizza pie, I don't know yet. But I wanted to get this bike done today if I can, and I try to show how I made the adapter. This is going to be a custom mount, a little bit more work than doing the R1. And by the way, the one for the R1, 3 bolts, it's done. The Kawasaki 650, 3 bolts, you're done. Snap the bag on, put whatever you're going to take with you, your salami sandwich or your pet squirrel or whatever, and just go ride. But this bike and a lot of the older bikes that have the 6-bolt cap, or I think on the GS, I'm going to have to make something, I don't even know if it's possible. I have ideas. Ideas are good until you have and you know what a fountain of youth is. It's all nice. But anyway, skip the point. I want to get started on this. First thing is to understand the Givi bag is really a useful thing. It works great, but you need to know certain things if you're going to do more than one motorcycle. And this video, I hope, if we do get this to work today, you'll know that you can do this series of bike or bikes similar to it that have the 6-bolt gas cap. Now, mentioning a few things some people might not realize, the whole restoration of this motorcycle is on previous videos, and if you dial it up and you look through my channel, you dial up GPX 750R, the videos all come up. You can follow them in sequence. But here's the thing, this bike has an older gas cap. And we have 2 of these bikes with 2 gas caps and 2 tanks. I have a spare bike. I have a spare tank. So I really want to figure out exactly how to make this work. And it may be a little more challenging because see how close that is. I don't know if that's even going to be possible or if we're going to have to go to plan B, maybe a different brand of bag. I don't know. We're gonna find out in the next hour or so. So when you purchase a Givi bag, it comes with a ring. The ring is a universal thing that fits most motorcycles. It comes with really good directions, and it comes with, you have to buy the horseshoe that fits your bike. And this would normally line up with 3 bolts on the gas cap. Well, on the older bikes, it doesn't line up because it has 6 bolts, not 5. So you can see on an R1 or any of the modern bikes, even the MT-09, these bolts line right up. You put the horseshoe in, it's got a little notch here. Tighten the bolts, there's little spacers go under the bolts. And the beautiful part about this, no part of the bag when it touches the paint. So when you have especially a custom paint job, or if you have a new bike and you don't want to scratch it, this is really a beautiful system. And the only downside is you can't buy this ring doesn't come for that $750. So I'm going to have to improvise here. So the first part of this is just to do a dry fit. This piece looks like it's going to fit. That's not the issue. It's not a problem at all. In fact, the inside diameter looks just about right. But it's the horseshoe that I've got to re-drill holes for. Now, making a pattern to get this very precise holes in this, making that pattern might be a little more challenging than you think it is. Because first off, I've got to make allowances for, I can't do it back here. I've got to do it from the horseshoe. Then from the horseshoe, make sure I can drill from the horseshoe down through here. But the first thing I need to do is make a pattern of which holes I'm going to use here. And I'm just guessing that I'm going to use these 3. It's just a lucky guess on my part. Now to understand how this works, that of course would drop in there. There's a little notch up here. And once we drill our new holes in this piece, then we can transpose them and go right through this piece. And then we should be able to get, we want to catch at least 3 bolts here. And they do give you a bag with the special bolts and little spacers, but I don't know if these are going to be adaptable or if we're going to have to make custom bolts. So here's a really good tip. When you go to make a pattern, you can make it out of a piece of office paper, cardboard, anything. But a convenient way to do it is to do it with the back piece. This comes like a clamshell. Use the back piece, cut off the edges, and you can take this over to the motorcycle. Let me just show this. And you can just take a Sharpie marker or whatever and mark where the holes are. And then just go to a drill press and with a step drill, conveniently drill some nice little holes in there. And that picks up exactly where the holes are very accurately. So if you look at where my pattern is, I almost can catch. That's not really good. So what I'm going to do, rather than try to catch this at the edge, I'm going to drill 2 new holes up here, and I'll still have a triangle of holes, but this looks like it would be not so sure. And that's what's nice about having a really accurate pattern. So the next step on this, before I do anything, is to get all the bolts out, because this is going to have to sit down right flush on this. And so I don't want any of these bolts sticking up. It's going to make it difficult to get it nice and flat. As I said before, these have 6 bolts. They really have 7. Boy, that is the IQ test of a motorcycle mechanic. But anyway, now I have all the bolts off of there. Now I can do just a little test mount, nice and flat on there. So what we're going to be doing is replacing the 7 bolts with these. You notice are longer, and they have this spacer. That's why. And you have to take into account the thickness of the horseshoe. And if these bolts are not appropriate, because again, this is a custom mount, we can just, I have plenty of bolts that are much longer. I can cut them down and get them the right length. Now when I put this together, just dry fit, I realized I may be able to make this work just by getting some really some tight fitting washers. Let's see, I don't know what I've got here. I've got to look through my little inventory of stuff. And the trick is here, the lesson to be learned is never throw the bolts away. Never throw anything away. Somewhere in here there'll be appropriate washers, I know it. So this is going to allow me to see if this is going to make a solid mount. I really only need 2 of them. And if there'll be an interference fit. Now believe it or not, I caught the edge on this with the washers that I had. And this, you can move the whole, I don't know if you can see it, you can move the whole motorcycle by. That's good and solid for what we're doing. Now, if this were to get loose in time, or if this was somehow, it's not going to come off the motorcycle because you're definitely catching the first bolt. It would only get loose back here. But then I would have the choice of using my pattern, drill in 2 more holes, which I don't want to put extra bolts in if I don't have to. There's no reason to make it any more complicated than it is. I think that'll hold that in place. And now we're ready to test fit it and see if, well, this is what I always was thinking was going to be a problem. And if it is, then I have to make corporate decisions. And again, this is just one of those, when we restored this bike, we dedicated it to our late friend Larry DeTore. And every time I ride the bike, I think about him. And yeah, Larry, one of the people we really miss, seriously. Larry DeTore, he was such a good friend, and he pretty much, he was learning how to paint at my house for I don't know, a couple of years maybe, and we had a lot of fun together. Now before I sock this on, I want to make sure, yeah, I'm already hitting, but I'm only hitting, see, I'm hitting this is called the screamer. It's a part of the radar detector, and it goes on with Velcro, so we can move that if we have to. I just put another piece of Velcro somewhere. That's no big deal. Now if I look at this, I got to move the screamer up here or to the side maybe. I don't know where I can move that. That's not going to be an issue though. But what I noticed is, well, first off, the bag is solid as can be. And I want to show this up close. It's an unbelievable amount of, like it was almost made for this. So once I move the screamer, and that's going to be just a piece of Velcro. Look at what, could it be better? Wow. That, I didn't expect it to be that good. That is truly a custom installation. Wow. All right, so the only thing left now is I'm going to go get another piece of Velcro and I'll mount this up. I guess I can mount it up here. So that, let's see, and it's just a piece of Velcro. And I left the wire long enough, but you see it can't be down there. Or maybe it can be. I gotta see. And don't give up yet. I've got to figure out exactly where that has to go. And that'll be the last piece of the puzzle. Now this is my bag of Velcro that you can buy at Lowe's, and they do make heavy duty Velcro, which is way better. I'm looking for I have a piece in here that's a pattern. Here it is right here, because I had the pattern I had. And I've got to make a brand new one, and we'll be good to go. That couldn't be a lot easier. So another good tip, anytime you're going to use Velcro try to take it off, and in our case, I don't have to take the bottom piece off, I can leave them both on. When I'm using it on the other bikes, I can move the screamer. But here's the whole thing to remember, and it's really an important thing, is when you go to take Velcro off, heat it, make it warm to the touch, and peel it back real slow, or it'll tend to damage the finish, hurt the paint. Or in the Givi bag, what happened the first time I pulled it off, it started delaminating the plastic, so I was be real careful when you take it off. And so that actually gives me 2 places to mount the screamer. I'm making sure it's pressed on good. And I can use the lower piece. I'll leave it on. Higher piece, lower piece, it really doesn't matter. Well, everything on that worked out pretty well. And for somebody who has one of these bikes, or a bike that's similar with the 7-bolt or 6-bolt, I'm not sure what I was thinking. But you know, when you don't have enough coffee in the morning, that's the problem. And I think anybody that rides, well, if you ride alone and you ride, you know, anywhere far from home, you want to have some rescue stuff. And I'm just amazed that the clearance on that worked out almost like they were designing it. That's almost unbelievable. But anyway, that is ready for a test ride. So before I end the video, I want to thank the healthcare workers. Thank you guys so much. We're looking forward to having a test ride day soon. That worked out pretty well. But just be aware of when you go to retrofit an older bike with one of those Givi mounts or multiple bikes, those are some things I learned along the way. And I hope you can use that information to your advantage. Especially if you're looking to retrofit one of these older bikes. Now we still have the GS to do, and I'm sorry to report I don't have a solution for that. We still have the RD to do. Haven't figured out a way to do that yet, but I'm working on it. And I do have some ideas, but again, I'm still working on it. Anyway, and again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoy making them and editing them and getting these rides and projects in. And thanks so much for watching. Now, we do try to post up something almost every day, of course. Some shop projects, some rides, whatever. Today, we would have liked to get a test ride in, but we just ran out of time. And we have so many other projects going on here, including restoring our shower and my grandson paying unexpected visits. But we do try to get as many things documented, the things we work on the motorcycles, the rides we go on. Basically, if you look at it, we're trying to share the life we have, the life we've been blessed with. And I certainly enjoy editing the videos, and I enjoy sharing them. Hope you enjoy watching them. Hope you enjoy the passion I share for motorcycling. And thanks, guys, so much for watching.